HD video not looking like you think it should? Let's talk about it.
What you want?
Welcome to Video Oops, the show where we learn to make great video together. I'm your host, Jason Church, and definitely not an anchovy with a pet zebra. On today's episode of Video Oops, we talk about the top 4 reasons that your video doesn't look like film or television. So you bought a new camera thinking you're going to make some great videos at home because on the box it says 720p and 1080p video capable. And you take it home and you unbox it and you begin to make new videos and you look at them and you go, that doesn't look like film or television. There's several reasons for that, and we're going to go over those today. So let's talk about the 4 reasons why your video doesn't look like film or television. Reason number 1 is camera movement. Now, there are times when you do want to move the camera, but in certain ways. Not the way that most people do it. When you take your camera out, oftentimes you'll take the camera and hold it in your hands. You'll pull out your cell phone or your tablet or whatever camera you have available and just start shooting, thinking, this is going to look great. But camera motion that is a result of shake, which is generally what happens when you hold a camera by hand, is not aesthetically pleasing. Take a look at this shot. Notice how the camera is moving around. Even though I'm not really shaking the camera, it's moving around enough that it doesn't look pleasant. So let's try something. Let's put it on a tripod. Notice the difference right away? It's a lot steadier shot. It looks a lot better. Reason number 2 is shot composition. The usual approach for a beginner is to take the camera and point it at the subject and put the subject right in the center of the frame. And that's not very interesting. That's one reason that your video doesn't look like film or television. Because if you watch film and television, you'll notice that it's very seldom that someone is framed center. And there's a reason for that. It's more aesthetically pleasing and more interesting if you have other things going on in the frame. So notice the subjects in this shot, and this is what they look like in the center of the frame. Now notice if we do this and we shoot the dialogue scene over one shoulder and then we reverse it and go over the other subject's shoulder, that it's a much more interesting and much more natural feel to the shot. Reason number 3 is lighting. Now notice in this shot, our subjects look like part of the background. They don't look like they stand out at all. Well, let's see what happens if we light them well. Notice how they stand out a little bit more, and you can see more of their features, and their features look more interesting. That's what happens when you light your scene well. And that's a very big reason why your footage won't look like film or television, is because it's usually not lit well. Reason number 4 is editing. Either bad editing or a lack of editing entirely. Now I realize that editing suites can be very expensive. For instance, we're using things like Premiere Pro, After Effects, Final Cut Pro, Sony Vegas, and I realize that those can get pricey. So if you don't have a budget, there are options. For instance, if you're using a PC, oh, I'm sorry. Gosh, that was horrible. Then you have Windows Movie Maker, or Windows Live Movie Maker as they call it now. And that is a free option that comes with your PC. Now, it's not going to allow you to do things like color correction or, any of the fancy things, but it will allow you to do things like lower thirds and transitions and things of that nature, and it'll allow you to, reorder your video in a way that makes sense. Also, if you're using a Mac, you also have iMovie, which is great if you are a beginner for helping you to put these videos together again, in a logical fashion.
Come on.
So that's it for this episode of Videoops. Next time we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it outdoors. And then we're going to make an episode that focuses on each one of these topics individually so that we can talk about how to do each one of these things well. As always, we're looking for your feedback and comments, so if there's something you'd like to see us do a tutorial on, or there's some other topic you'd like for us to cover, then you can leave us a comment below if you're watching us on YouTube, or on Facebook, or on the Twitter, or you can go to our bloggity blog and leave us a comment there. Again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, or subscribe, or follow us on Twitter, and join us again next time when we wrestle a chipmunk.